Bill Delahunt. I will not call you to mow the lawn after that introduction. It's very, very nice of you. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I know that I'm the last thing between everybody here and their lunch. I am going to be brief. You know, Teddy used to say, everyone has spoken and they've said everything, but not everyone has said it. And I think that that's the position that I'm in here. But I first want to thank everyone for this magnificent day. How Teddy would have loved it. He loved working with all of these wonderful partners. Bill, he adored you. He could not have done what he did. He could not have been the effective senator that he was without your partnership professionally in the House and what you meant in terms of that great partnership. But that's not what I want to say about you. It was that friendship and those phone calls and that you were his pal. You were his buddy. Not just in the last 15 months when he was sick, but throughout those 7 terms, I can't believe 7 terms, and before, even when you introduced him as the senior citizen of Massachusetts, which he did. That's how I met Bill Delahunt. He was the district attorney, and he introduced him as the senior citizen of Massachusetts. And it's just emblazoned in my brain. He loved you, and I love you, and I thank you so much for those warm words. And working with John Kerry on this project, who's so dedicated to conservation and to this state, and to preserving lands and giving clean air and allowing people to enjoy this great natural beauty, was really a joy for Teddy. And working with the Trust for Public Land, with the National Park Service, George, I think I've been to every park that you've been associated with, and I think I've been to certainly every one in Massachusetts. We can talk about Thompson Island and the mosquitoes and the planes overhead a little bit later, and what all those kids out there were. No, it was fantastic. But Teddy would say over and over again how magnificent this beautiful sky. Our ancestors were here. They would breathe this air. They would look up at this sky. They saw the same clouds, and it was infectious. And he said the National Park Service does such a magnificent job in what they're doing. And he just loved your work, supported everything you did. Thank you for what you're doing here today. Fred, the wonderful work that the local community has done in coming together here, this great partnership from the national level to the local level. But Steve, it's what you've done and what your family has done. This could not happen without the dedication and true commitment of the Currier family. Teddy came back from that excellent adventure day and talked about it. And he was so moved by your dedication and your belief. And he said, Steve doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. And his whole family walks the walk. This was such an important project to him. And how I wish he were here for so many reasons, but how I wish he were here to see this finally come to fruition. These things take time. As Teddy said to me so many times, these are always marathons, never a sprint. You just have to look at the long ball. It takes a long time. This actually was probably short for one of these projects, even though it seems like a long time. But how happy I am to be here today. You know, Teddy did love Cape Cod. He loved it with all his heart and soul. I have to say, especially in his last 15 months, we would sit on our porch and we would look out. And as difficult as the future was for him, and he knew it was, we'd look out and he'd look out to sea and breathe that air, and he'd say, every single day, I kid you not, aren't we lucky? Every single day of his life, he'd breathe that air and say, aren't we lucky? Think of all the people who don't have this. Look at this beauty. Look at this. Aren't we lucky? That's what he felt. That's what he felt about this place. That's what he felt about this magnificent Commonwealth, but especially about Cape Cod. He said to me, I love Hyannisport, but I love every part of Cape Cod. I remember one day where he said, let's get, this goes back years, let's get in our 1972 Le Mans convertible. And he drove me, he said, we're going to go look at the National Seashore. I need to go take you to the National Seashore. And we drove, and he talked to me about how it became a national park and what President Kennedy's commitment and how important this was. Then it started to pour rain. That's the part you don't want to think about. Now, an old 1972 convertible, even once you put the top on, continues to leak. And he's saying, isn't this beautiful? Isn't this really incredibly beautiful? And we are drenched. We are totally drenched. You have never seen a happier person in your entire life. I have to tell you, for Christmas that year, I redid the top on the he was like boyish in his enthusiasm, and I absorbed it because he loved it, and that's what he felt about this place. He loved the naturalness of the campgrounds here. He loved the fact that you didn't have video games. He remembered as a boy his joy the first time he could go camping with his cousin by himself. He loved being able to be outdoors and look up at the stars. He loved the freedom, he loved the smells, he loved everything about it. He loved the solace, he loved the peace. He felt that something happened that integrated your soul if you were outdoors and able to enjoy nature. And that's really what you've done here, is you've given a gift to future generations who will, for generation after generation, be able to look out, look up, and say, aren't we lucky? Thank you. Thank you so much.